إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة في الدين بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل بدعة في الدين ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. ثم أما بعد, brothers and sisters, today's topic is a little deep, and today we talk about, we together explore the greatness of our deen, of our religion, the deen of Allah, al-Islam, which was sent, as Allah says in the Quran, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. O Muhammad, we haven't sent you but as mercy for mankind. Islam all is about mercy to all creatures. And today we will explore together one small part from our magnificent Sharia. We will just talk about the financial part in Sharia, the part of economy, Islamic economy, and how that solved problems when it was well applied. Even though the word or the term Islamic economy is a new terminology, only came to existence last century or so. But the foundations in which that science is based are there as old as Islam on this planet. Scholars talk about more than 1800 financial and economical terminologies in Quran and Sunnah, because Islam is a comprehensive way of life that should address everything in life, and part of that is finances. نتحدث اليوم يا إخواني عن عظمة هذا الدين ونستكشف جزءا صغيرا من عظمته وذلك في الجانب الاقتصادي منه. Poverty is a problem. Poverty is a disaster. Poverty is a disease. And Rasulullah, one of his great dua, oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from poverty. And when people wanted to solve this universal problem, we started having these school of thoughts. Socialism there, capitalism here, which started maybe economic and got some social components, political ones, and they did the best to solve the poverty and the financial problems. But I wouldn't say they 100% could do that. Socialism just failed completely, 1991, 1992. Capitalism was badly shaken in 2008, if you remember. And we still maybe not that much in America, but all over the world, have a huge gap. And Muslims, in their deep sleep over the past 4 centuries or so, failed to introduce the concepts of finance and economy in our great deen. Today we talk about some glimpses of that running wealth and managing wealth and solving poverty problems in Islam. To start with, people ask, is money by itself wealth, is it bad or good? Should we be wealthy or not? And how can we understand the Prophet ﷺ saying, Allahumma ahini miskinan, wa amitni miskinan, wa ahshurni fi zumratil masakin, which could translate very much as, oh Allah, the Prophet is making dua, cause me to live as poor and die as poor and resurrect me among poor. But the Prophet himself is the one who said, I seek refuge in you from poverty. And it's very dangerous when we understand anything coming to Islam from one angle only. They're all with two sides. Even in Aqidah, the Jabriya and Qadariya, these two astray groups, everyone look to their point of view from one angle. But everything in our Islam and Quran in this dunya is a pair, positive and negative, male and female. It's always a pair there. Always two angles we need to consider. So, to start with, wealth was described in many ways in Quran, sometimes negative, sometimes positive. But when scholars talk about how is it, if we go for neutral, what would you say? I would say, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولا تؤتوا السفهاء أموالكم التي جعل الله لكم قياما. The word qiyama just summarized the meaning of wealth in Islam. Your wealth, which Allah has made for you, qiyama. Qiyama, it can be translated as means to support you, means to develop the world, means to make your lives better, means to, because money is everything. Wealth is everything. But when I talk about Islam, I talk about Aqidah, I talk about Akhlaq, and then comes wealth. Aqidah, one God, all prophets, books, angels, Aqidah. And then Akhlaq, ethics. And then we talk about a fard in Quran, which is وَاسْتَعْمَرَكُمْ فِيهَا. When Allah talks about this dunya, this planet Earth, Allah is teaching us that it's fard on us to work on making it a better place, to develop it, to fix it, to make it more livable. Allah gave us ready, and for science and for technology and for improvement, sky's the limit. So, number one thing about that, and I said brothers and sisters, today might be a little deep, and the point is we need to explore the greatness of our Islam and how comprehensive it is. And at the end, we will say together what's our share in that system, what can we do to help in solving this problem. I talk about poverty again. So, Sharia, when Allah talks about wealth, that's number one. It's meant to support you, do what you can to live well in this life. Qiyamah. And then Sharia, dear brothers and sisters, as we said, is all mercy. That's why Sharia is founded on justice. And Sharia is mercy and just to humans, whether Muslims or non-Muslims. So, second principle here, justice. That's why Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, the president of the country at the time, walk in the street and find in his capital, Al-Medina, find a Jew like standing and begging people. An old Jewish guy standing begging. And Umar asked, why you beg? It was not normal to see people begging. Alhamdulillah, it was everybody's okay. And he said, I'm too weak to work. I got no savings. فقال عمر والله ما أنصفناك. Umar said, by Allah, we were not just to you. Took him by his hand to the treasury, gave him what's enough for him and more than enough, goes to his headquarters and write this executive decision from Umar ibn al-Khattab. Certain age, money is to be given like monthly pension to whoever is not capable of earning, Muslims or not Muslims. And because Muslim government is supposed to have freedom, when Umar enacted that executive order, the treasurer said, no, that's not right. These are the money of the Muslims. This is the wealth of Muslims. And Umar just told them, when I read the book of Allah, I find إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين, to the poor and the needy. Allah didn't say only Muslims. The man couldn't say anything, and that. So, number two, in our understanding, Sharia for finances is justice. And justice doesn't differentiate between people upon anything. It's justice for all, period. And everything in our Islam goes back to ethics. So in Islam, injustice is forbidden. Zulm is forbidden. And that's why shirk, which is disbelief, which associating partners with Allah, Allah says, إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. Shirk is a serious injustice. Why? It's ethical basis. Because kufr means ungrateful. How come Allah, who's created you, who's given you everything, who supported you, protected you, who subjected everything around you for your own well-being, who brought down books and sent messengers and everything for you, and at the end of the day, you either don't recognize him or associate partners to him or disbelieve in him. It's ungratefulness. And that's why shirk, dhulm, is ethically wrong. It's a dhulm. And that takes us to next step in understanding finances and economy in our great Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent books of guidance, but not only books. Surah Al-Hadid, wal-Mizan, balance. That's why the scholars of great understanding, when they understand something from Quran, from Sunnah, they don't just read one and leave another. They bring together everything and they use the balance. Al-Mizan. That's why quickly on the side of our talk, just talk about finances. At the time of Harun al-Rashid, a big problem between supply and demand. Much supply, prices go down, nobody makes any profit. Farmers do want to plant again next year, they want to think of another business. Less supply, more demand, prices go crazy. And Harun al-Rashid, he knows must be something done about that. And he calls the student of Abu Hanifa, Abu Yusuf, and he calls other scholars, say, what can we do? And scholars bring together a system to work on that from understanding economy and finances in Islam. And they come up with quick 3 rules. They talk about fiqh al-ma'alat, fiqh of consequences. They talk about tahqiq al-manat, or making sure that the wisdom or the rationale is met. And they talk about al-asf al-dihni, brainstorming. Actually, brainstorming, which we talk about in our schools today, started centuries ago by the teacher of Imam Malik, Rabi'at al-Ra'y. And later Imam Abu Hanifa excelled in that. So bring everything you can think of to the table. Bring all ideas, all ayat, all ahadith, and think. And reach a conclusion and find the best 2 people. So we talk about finances, we talk about justice, we talk about... So if you think of any financial system, whether it's socialism or capitalism or any other theory, you will find the best of them, the best in them is in Islam. But some parts are missed here and there, and they are in Islam. So capitalism of respecting the individual ownership, it's in Islam. And not to forget about the poor and the needy is in Islam. The 4th principle we talk about today is al-malu malullah. In Islam, wealth, all wealth. Yes, you own it. Temporary. Once you leave this world, heirs will take over. Someone else will take over. It was not yours yesterday, it was someone else. It's yours today. So the first rule is al-malu malullah. The wealth all belongs to Allah. And this understanding doesn't take away from your ownership in any way. Never misunderstand me in this part. You completely own it, yes. But Allah is telling you, وَأَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا جَعْلَكُمْ مُسْتَخْلَفِينَ فِيهِ, and donate and spend and help and give from what? From the wealth He has made you entrusted with. It's from Allah. The opposite of this is the economy of Qarun, when he said, إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. I made that wealth only because I earned it. I'm a smart person, I worked hard. So the balance is, the money is yours, the wealth is yours. And spend. When Allah talk about spending, Allah talk about the reason why. What's the wisdom? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم كي لا يكون دولة بين الأغنياء منكم. So wealth is not only, that's Quran, is not only, so إنما الصدقات والفقراء والمساكين والعاملين على الأموال. Why we do this? So wealth is not only circulated among the rich. If you talk in America about the 1%, you hear about that. If you talk all over the world about few owns almost everything, and vast majority on almost nothing. That's one problem the world need to address. There will always be poorer and richer. Islam is not against that. But Islam is against having any human being doesn't have his or her basic needs in this life. Poverty is not always because somebody doesn't work hard enough or not educated well enough. Sometimes it's institutional. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intend always al-yusr, ease. Dear brothers and sisters, sallu ala Rasulillah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. The topic of the day is a little deep, as I said, but you are the community of Islam, mashallah. You are the leading community in our city. I'm bragging a little about you, alhamdulillah. We talk about Islam as... So number 5 in our speech today, transactions in Islam are all halal. everything coming to mu'amalat, transactions, inheritedly, originally halal, is all halal, except what Allah made haram, the little points. You know, it's like an ocean. Allah tells you when it comes to transactions, go sail everywhere. Do everything. Make as much money as you would. But remember, you're going to ask about two questions. How you made it, how you spent it. The Prophet's hadith. A man before, everybody will be asked about three. One of them is wealth. How did he or she made it? How did he dispose of it or spend it? So it's like an ocean. Everything is halal, except three things. Have you heard of the myth of the Bermuda Triangle? Let's call this our Bermuda Triangle as Muslims. Do everything, but avoid, number one, riba. Usually. Avoid gharar, avoid dhulm. Everything in transactions, if there is no riba, لا riba ولا gharar ولا dhulm, فهو صحيح. Riba we know, interest. People don't say usury anymore, it became old-fashioned. They call it interest now. So, it's to be avoided. And number two, dhulm, any kind of injustice. Even if somebody say, I am happy with being, it's okay, I'm happy with that. I give my consent. You know, usury is unjust to me, I'm okay. But no, that's not okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا تظلمون ولا تظلمون. You don't oppress, you don't be oppressed. We talk about riba, Allah, the Prophet said, cursed ones are the one who give, the one who take. It's more worse for the one who take, but even akilahu wa mukilah, but even the one who gives. Of course, we talk about it. Unless, in everything in Islam, unless there is a necessity, you know that. If there is a necessity, any haram becomes halal, any forbidden becomes. Back again, al-gharar, number three, al-gharar huwa al-jahala. It's like uncertainty, you don't know what you're buying. There's something ambiguous in the sale. Dear brothers and sisters, we were just talking a little about the justice in our Sharia, which is mercy for mankind, Muslims or non-Muslims. We talked about little part of it, which is finances. And we discussed some principles in which these finances are made. And we said that the wealth were given, alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then, we will always have poor people. And that's my last point in the second khutbah. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى واشهد ان لا اله الا الله واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله. Dear brothers and sisters, we talked about a system that's instilled in Islam, that a great guidance from Allah, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give guidance to people يصلحوا دينهم ودنياهم يصلحوا دنياهم وآخرتهم, to make their life good, to make the day after good, to make them successful here and successful there. Whoever want to take the guidance, alhamdulillah, who want to reject it, it's his or her decision. Everybody is free, but how can we help when we have the poor? I'm not talking as a state now or as a government, I'm talking as a community. And as a community, the answer is in one small part of our Islam, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, which is zakah. 8 months ago I gave a khutbah about zakah in June. Zakah is a pillar of Islam. Pillar of 5. It's more important than fasting, and more important than pilgrimage. And we talked about the ahadith and the ayat that talks about the punishment of those. Just remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you're eligible to pay zakah, it means you're wealthy enough. Alhamdulillah. We need to pay our zakah. A few days ago, I was asked a question about the zakah of stores and shops and how to pay it. And I made an audio message that we sent to all store owners in our city. If any brother or sister has a question about how to pay their zakah, dear brothers, zakah in Islam, and listen carefully, is not meant only to brother come to our masjid and our social secretary sits with them and we see how to help him or her and just give them a couple hundred so they go home and they come next week and the week after. But zakah is about helping a brother and sister to live sufficiently, to live self-sufficient. We talked about that before. Zakah is not you come, I give you some money to go eat. But I tell you what can you do. You're a driver, we get you a cab. You're a chef, we'll make you. We start a restaurant for you. It might sound like dreams for you, but wallahi that has been applied for centuries. For centuries, the treasurer of the Muslim land were having surplus, don't know where to spend it. Let's, in our small community, Syracuse, let's يا إخواني كما قال الله تعالى خذ من أموالهم صدقة تطهرهم وتزكيهم بها. Let's remind one another of the pillar of Islam, of zakah, which is more important than fasting and hajj, which comes together with salah all over Quran, which is by not paying it, you're committing injustice to any needy brother or sister whose problem might be solved. Because Rasulullah said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a portion in the wealthy, talk about zakah, that's enough for the needy. At the end of the day, we will always have rich and richer or poorer, but we should not have someone below the basic needs of human life, because Sharia in its part is humane. اللهم بعلمك الغيب وقدرتك على الخلق أحينا ما علمت الحياة خيرا لنا وتوفنا إذا علمت الوفاة خيرا لنا. اللهم إنا نسألك خشيتك في الغيب والشهادة ونسألك كلمة الحق في الرضا والغضب ونسألك القصد في الفقر والغنى ونسألك الشوق إلى لقائك ولذة النظر إلى وجهك الكريم في غير ضراء مضرة ولا فتنة مضلة. اللهم زينا بزينة الإيمان اللهم واجعلنا هداة مهتدين. اللهم إنا نسألك الرضا بعد القضاء وبرد العيش بعد الموت. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة